So I'm just kind of introducing this idea of these concept bites that I use to reinforce teaching. They started off by me trying to support distance learners, people who perhaps weren't able to kind of get all of the benefits of a lecture and being able to kind of ask questions or being able to have kind of things presented from a different perspective. But I now use them across all of my teaching here. The work is kind of based on work by Simon Lancaster, who's at UEA. He had an HEA funded project to work on what he calls chemistry vignettes. And these are short videos that were prepared by students. I, however, don't have the luxury of them being driven by assessment, which is what Simon used. And so I prepare all of these videos myself. And they tend to be short, 5 to 8 slide videos. Largely the content is derived from what I'm already presenting in lectures. It's perhaps reordered, restructured to make it stand alone. But it's the same content. I might add a little bit extra to kind of reinforce concepts. But the idea is that when I teach, I am trying to teach a select few core ideas. And I want them to be able to apply these core ideas to different situations. So, there's half a dozen, maybe a couple more examples of these core ideas from each course. And I want them to be able to apply them to different situations. And so that's what these concept bites are focused on, the core concepts of the course, hence they get their name. Now, how do I go about recording them? Well, actually, it's incredibly simple. I'm an Apple user and I use Keynote. And there is a built-in audio record function on Keynote. I believe the same thing is there for PowerPoint. If not, you can use QuickTime or you can use Panopto that you've downloaded onto your computer. But I just use the audio capture tool already built into Keynote, which is available if you go to Keynote, then you go select play, and then there is record slideshow just there. And I just play through this slideshow whilst I'm recording it. From that point, I can then export my slideshow as a video to QuickTime, and then I upload it to YouTube, and then I host it on Moodle. One thing I will say is I do have a special microphone. I don't just use the microphone built into my computer. I initially started to use the microphone that was on my headphones for my iPods, but I now have a specialist microphone to record the audio. It just makes it easier to hear and higher quality. The concept bites are driven by the content that the students want. I let them choose the content, and I'm building this up year on year as they ask for more content and they get kind of more used to the idea. They're relatively quick to produce, bearing in mind that I'm basing this on content already from lectures. They take me less than an hour, say, usually. Depends how many times I get interrupted during the recording, of course. But the interesting thing that I've found from doing these concept bites this year is that 2 of my third year students who are doing UAS projects have gone on to base their UAS projects on these concept bites and introducing them into schools. So taking these kind of ideas that they're being built in class, reducing them to the core concept, and then delivering that core concept as a video which can be reviewed and recapped. What's amazing to me is that some of my videos have been watched nearly 1,000 times. Now, bearing in mind these are unlisted, so you can't just search YouTube for them. They are only available if you know the link, and to have 1,000 views on them. And it's not just, okay, I did see a peak of the usage just before exams. Of course I did. That's kind of partly why they're there, but students go back and review them, and I actually have more students going back to review concept bites after a lecture than I have going back to watch the Panopto, which to me is only a good thing, because I don't see a huge amount of merit in rewatching a whole hour-long lecture, whereas if we kind of drilling down to the core concepts, that's really important to me. From a pedagogic point of view, it's focusing on their needs, which has to be important, but this short burst of information is preventing kind of any cognitive overload that you get in a lecture. You can't avoid it. I do things in my lectures to try to avoid it, but there's still a lot of information being delivered in a short amount of time. I'm able to kind of respond when students want help, but more to the point, they're available for the students when they need help, not just when I'm available in my office, not just kind of on a weekday or things like this. If a student is needing help with something at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, these videos are there for them, and that has to be good. And it's just always reinforcing these key concepts. kind of removing this kind of worry about, do I need to know this for the exam? These are the key concepts. If you can apply these key concepts, that's what you need to do. And instead of it being, just all these little bits of remembering everything rather than kind of understanding. So it's really trying to enforce this understanding. I'm really in favour of them. I've had really good feedback from students about them. And as I said, I started out distance learning, but I now use them across the board. I would really recommend that other people try them. Bye.